Hello everyone, this is Dr. Wei, and today we're going to do the experiment on steam distillation. Alright, so I'm going to focus on the procedure, how we're doing it. Alright, so the steam distillation, as it sounds, we need steam, which is coming from water. Alright, so let's looking at the bench, see what do we have here. Alright, so if you look at the procedure, the step number 1 is setting up a simple distillation. So to setting up the simple distillation, first of all, we need a jack, right? This thing is called jack. Why it's called jack, I don't know. But the point about this one is it's kind of going to go up and down, all right? So we need a little bit distance between the bottom. So here and here, there's some distance, right? We can use the knob right here to do adjustment up or down, okay? So we need this guy first. And then we need a heating source, which is a heating mantle. This is not a gas stove. This is more like heating stove, all right? And on top of that, we have a 250 mils of round bottom flask, all right? So you see the round bottom flask is rounded, and the heating mantle is a cove. So these two supposed to be attached to each other, right? They have to be physically touch each other in order for the heating to work. So now let me lifting our things up a little bit here. So what do we need inside the round bottom flask? 5 grams of lemongrass oil. All right, so I have the lemongrass oil, all right, 5 grams. Assuming the density is about 0.8, so we need 6.3 mLs of lemongrass oil. So I'm going to using a 10 ml cylinder to measuring 6.3 mLs of lemongrass oil. All right, lemongrass oil actually smells pretty nice. All right, that should be it. All right, I pour the lemongrass oil into the into the round bottom flask. All right, and I'm going to add a little bit, 3 to 4 pieces of bowling chips. All right, so this is the bowling chips to prevent overheating. All right, every time we do the heating, we need that, and then we need 80 to 100 mils of water, all right, for the steam. So that makes sense. All right, so let's say we add 100 mils of water. I'll need a funnel for that. As you can imagine, it's oil and water, so they're not gonna mixing up very well. Who's gonna be on top? Yeah, you're right, it's the oil, right? All right, so now we're gonna lower the round bottom flask, fit into the cove of the heating mantle, tightening up the clamp. The other clamp is holding the neck of the round bottom flask. And then on top of the round bottom flask, we're putting a 3-way adapter, right? You learned that from the class number 1, glasswork quiz, or class number 2. All right, lifting the camera up a little bit, and then on top of the 3-way adapter, we need adding a thermometer and its adapter, which is this piece. Okay. All right. Make sure you grease all the joint so it's sealed. That's very important because you're heating up liquid become a vapor, which is a gas, right? If you don't seal the joint between the glasswares, yeah, you're gonna be the one smell it. All right, we're more or less set down here. Then, as you notice, that there's a sidebar from the 3-way adapter, which is the only one left. It's a little bit tilted downwards, and then we need the piece called the condenser. All right, the condenser is an interesting piece. All right, and have 2 sidebars, which I hooked up with 2 holes already. All right, this 2 rubber bands to bring them together. So I'm gonna putting it right here. Okay, and rubber bands need to be going up, but I need to take this guy out a little bit. All right. So rubber bands, the idea is holding these two pieces together, all right? And then the other end of this distillation column, you need a vacuum adapter, all right? Goes fitting right here, and rubber band is going to help to holding these two pieces together. There we go. And then I'm going to clamping of this vacuum adapter with extra clamp, just to be sure. All right, and then I'm gonna using a 100 ml beaker as the collecting device for the distillate. All right. So now, where does the hose go? The hose, all right here. So as if you pay attention to this distillation column, it's a little bit tilt downwards, right? So the water actually gonna comes in from the tap through the lower end and fill it up all the way to the upper end, and then exit through that tube to the sink. All right. The whole point is make sure the column, distillation column here, cold. All right. So water goes to the tubing coming from the tap. The other one goes, so the water comes in from here to the lower end, rising up and exit through the column through the tubing to the sink. All right. So I'm going to turn the water slowly. All right, it's harder for you guys to see from there, but I can hear the sound, right? The water is going up this way, okay? Now, all I need to do, all right, hang on 1 second. Right, I have to make sure the thermometer bulb, right, the middle point of the bulb matching the turning point on the three-way adapter. That's the best position to measure the temperature more correctly. As we're standing, we should be good to go. All right, I'm going to cranking out the heating, and then the simple distillation is just started. Okay, the goal is to collecting 40 to 50 mLs of distillate in this little beaker here. Okay, so the whole thing is going to take a while, so we're going to stop the recording right here. All right, welcome back to the steam distillation part 2. So now the reaction flask, or the round bottom flask, the lemongrass oil and the water is really boiling, vaporize going up, nowhere to go, has to go this sidewise between the cold condenser and the vapor condensed back to liquid. Because it's tilted, gravity does the job, pull it down, flatten to the beaker. All right, it's a little bit splashing. So now I'm going to bring up the beaker using another jack. So I don't want to losing on my distillate. All right, as you can see, it's really boiling inside the reaction flask. All right, after clean closer, and then in the flask right here is collecting the distillate, which is a mixture of citral and water, of course, in this beaker. Right. All right. We'll let it run for a little while. We're aiming for 40 to 50 mLs of the distillate in the beaker, and then we stop the simple distillation. Alright, so we collected about 40 mLs of the distillate, so we're going to stop this right here. So I'm going to first turn off heating. Okay, and I'm going to lower down the heating, the jack, to expose the hot round bottom flask to let it cool down. All right, air cool, by the way. And as you can see, the distillation is still ongoing. It may take a little while to complete. But we're not going to stop waiting forever, so we're going to move on to the next steps, which is the extraction of the distillate. Alright, so while the round bottom flask is cooling, I'm going to transfer this 20 mils, this 40 mils of distillate into the separator funnel on the side, okay, and move along with the extraction. So just quickly pour the distillate over to the separator funnel. The distillate has some oil on the top, which is our product, citral. And then we need to do the extraction with it, and we're going to using methylene chloride as the organic solvent for the extraction. Okay, so we need about 20 mLs of methylene chloride. So I'm going to pour 20 mL of methylene chloride here. I'm going to pour into the separator funnel, of course. Alright, so now I'm going to cap it, twist a little bit, and then turn it over. Wow, hear that, right? Yeah. Ooh. Okay. Typically you need to do 3 or 4 times. Let's do 5 times, okay? Alright, that should be done. Just more a little bit. Let it settle down. Waiting for 2 layers to appear. So now, as you can see, there are 2 layers, right, in the separator funnel. The top is cloudy, the bottom is clear, right? So now the question is, what is which, right? So in this case, the top is the aqueous layer, the bottom is the methylene chloride layer, right, or the orgo layer. Why is that? Because of their density difference, okay? Our compound or desired goal product is the citral, organic compound dissolved in methylene chloride, which is the organic solvent, right? That's the part we needed, all right? So I'm going to drain it to a aluminium flask. Fast at the beginning, but when interface approaches, slow down. There we go. So we're physically separating and collected the bottom organic layer, which is still a little bit cloudy if you take a closer looking at it, because there's still trace amount of water which need to be draining away, or soaking away. How do we do that exactly? Actually, we have a way of doing it, which is using the drying agent called sodium sulfate. In this case, anhydrase means very, very dry, right? We just need to add in, using spatula, right? Add a little bit of sodium sulfate. Typically use the size of your thumbnail size would be good enough. So then you swirl a little bit, all right? You can tell actually this liquid start to become clear very quickly. All right? Yep. All right, now we'll just let it settle down for a little bit of time. So while the organic layer is drying up, let's pre-weigh a dry 100 ml beaker on the balance. So we know the mass of the empty one, and then we're going to pour the organic layer into here, and then evaporate away the methylene chloride, leave behind the citral inside the flask. We weigh the whole thing again. Then by the subtraction of the mass difference, we know how much citral we collected, right? So we have a balance in the back. It's a little harder for you to see, but there is a balance right here on the back of the bench. So you want to measuring the weight of this mass of this beaker, or the mass of the beaker. You need to zero the balance first, and then put empty beakers on and wait. When the number stabilizes, in this case, is 51.08 grams. Let me write down 51.08 grams. Now, by this time, the drying process should be done. So now we do decant. So-called decant, it just pour liquids and out and leave the solids behind. That's all. Right? This procedure is called decant. And then we're done. All right, with this so-called decant process. And then the next step is to, all right, in this beaker is methylene chloride, which is the organic solvent, plus our target citral. So the goal is to evaporate away the methylene chloride, whose boiling point is about 39 Celsius degrees, and citral above 250, right? So this is going to leave behind. How do we do that? Just let it air dry? That's going to take forever, right? So we prepared a hot water bath on the side. So I'm just putting on top of the hot water bath, right? This beaker, 200 ml beaker, have about 150 ml of water inside. I have been heating it for a little while. Right now, this small beaker is floating inside. Methylene chloride is supposed to evaporate away, right? Of course, with time. All right. Now let's just start. You see, it started boiling inside. If you pay attention to it, right? And then methylene chloride is evaporating away. Methylene chloride is mostly gone, just have little bubbles still left behind. Alright, I think we're done. So I'm going to be using a towel to wipe up the water from outside and leave the whole beaker on the wire gauze to cool it down. Alright, the reason I need the wire gauze is because the beaker is pretty hot. If I leave on the bench directly, it's gonna burn the bench. Not a good idea, right? Let's put on the wire gauze. All right. So we're waiting for a couple minutes. We'll weigh the whole thing again. And we're done. All right. So yeah, this is the citral, our final product, colorless liquid. All right. So still a little bit warm, but I'm gonna go ahead and measuring the whole thing one more time on the balance. Zero the balance first, put it on. Now it beats 54.32. 54.32. 54.32 grams. All right. So the rest of it is just clean up. All right, you need to calculating the recovered yield, of course, and that's it. All right, thanks for watching, everyone. Bye-bye.